Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Annassa. So happy to see you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's start with meditation. So today we're going to use the mantra, I am that. And we'll start at the tip of the tailbone and work our way up. So you breathe into the tip of your tailbone and you say into that energy center, I am that. And that is that which is beyond love, peace, joy, and gratitude. It is the source of the all that is. As you feel the energy expand, bring your attention to your sex chakra, which is just above that. I am that. And breathe into it, allowing it to expand. Gently allow your attention to rise up to the energy center just below your belly button. Breathe into it. I am that. And anything that you feel, truly anything that you feel, just be grateful and allow. As your energy begins to rise further, breathe into your solar plexus, right below your breastbone. Breathe into that space. I am that. As you're ready, allow the energy to rise up to your heart center. Breathe into that space. I am that. As you're ready, allow the energy to rise up to your throat center. As you're ready, allow the energy to rise up to the energy center behind and between your eyebrows, in the center of your head, the third eye, and say into that space, I am that. As you're ready, allow your attention. Energy follows attention. Take your attention to the top of your head and feel it open as you say, I am that. It's a flower opening into 1,000-petaled lotus on your head. I am that. As you're ready, take your attention to the top of your aura, where your fingers would touch if you made a halo around your head. Feel into that space. And now feel into the 360-degree radius of the energy springing from the top of your head up as it encompasses your whole body, coming down. And again, renews itself and comes up the central channel. Breathe into that flow. I am that. As you're ready, gently bring your attention back to the field of our communication. Good morning, everybody. As you may have noticed, there's some new energy being integrated this morning. How may we serve? We welcome your questions and participation. We love hearing from you. Anything? Quiet this morning. Okay. Oh.
Hi, it's Kath.
Hold on. Kath, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, Kath.
Great. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, actually. My question has to do with the recent time change that we had. And generally, this is my favorite because, it's light later and all this, but my body seems to be having a real challenge getting some kind of adjustment to my sleep. I'm waking up in the middle of the night. I'm trying to go to bed different times. And I don't quite know what's going on, but I was curious to hear what your thoughts were on it, because I didn't know if there was something celestially going on that's exacerbating it or on the planet or whatever. But I've never had this challenge with getting back to kind of some kind of settled sleep after a time change.
Well, what we observe happening with you is that as you have relaxed into your new life and you are rested in a way that you perhaps never have been in your life before, because there's a lot less stress in your life. And so as that happens, you become aware of the incongruous in your environment. And to have a change in time that we all just must abruptly adapt to, because it's some agreement that's been imposed on us by our government that our time will change in this way twice a year. And it has nothing to do with the energy of the natural environment. It has everything to do with wanting it to be light so that people can go about their jobs in their expression of their creative energy for the benefit of the social contract, which is everything about matrix of belief and nothing about what it is to be a true human being, true to yourself. And so as you become more and more in your own natural alignment with nature itself and the light and dark cycle and the plants and the animals and their life cycles in your environment, your body naturally tunes to these things, and it's in a kind of synchronicity that is wonderful to experience when you're rested and living in that flow. And then when it's suddenly disrupted by a matrix of belief contract that you never consciously made, suddenly there you are having to adapt. And so it's not unreasonable for your body to complain. And it has to do with your increased sensitivity to your environment. Nothing more, nothing less. You will adapt, but it shows you the weirdness of the matrix of belief impositions on us as human animals in order to control our behavior so that we participate in this rewards and punishment system in our external world. We hope that answers your question.
It does it. So in a way, what I'm taking away from this is a good thing that I'm having this reaction, if you can assign good or bad to it, because it means that I'm becoming more sensitized. So,
Absolutely, yes.
so yay.
Yes, we would
Right.
agree with that statement
Great.
wholeheartedly.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, Maggie, did you have a question?
Yep.
Let's unmute you.
Okay.
There you go.
Hi.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you. Good morning. We have our friend Katrina with us this morning.
Hello, Katrina. Nice to meet you.
Meet you as well.
Welcome.
I just wanted to say thank you, Rebecca, to you and to the guides. I'm going to get moved. Our conversation last week about deciding about the vaccine and
Yes.
like how to listen to the messages I'm getting. And that was just such a clear and helpful understanding that, I just did just sit and listen. And what I said was, it's okay. Go do it. It will help. It will, even if it doesn't help you, it's okay. And so I went and got my first jab, and, life is proceeding as usual.
Yes.
I just
We are scheduled from a week from today.
Great.
And Andrew, my husband, did it last Tuesday. So we're on it.
So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But we stand by what we said.
Yes.
Feel and feel and feel, because doing anything with fear is detrimental to health.
Yes.
So you have to feel and feel and feel into yourself until something feels right. And if it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
Yes. And that was so great, because there was at some point where my conversation was just like, okay, well, whatever comes up, we'll handle it.
Exactly. Exactly. You have all kinds of resources.
Right. So thank you.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And we completely support anyone who makes a different decision.
Yes.
It's important that you listen to your inner. That's the most important thing in any decision you make, is that you are in alignment, wholly in alignment with a decision. Otherwise, wait.
Yes. Lovely.
Thank you for that feedback. How may we serve further?
I don't understand how Ho'oponopono can help with my sadness about world events.
Well, so we don't know who asked this question, but as we feel into it, what we're feeling is that sadness about world events may be something that's superficial to a personal kind of sadness that has yet to be addressed. And as we feel into that, we invite you to feel into your body, into where the sadness lies in you. And allow it to be anywhere. Just allow yourself to experience the feeling of sadness in you. And invite it to show you where it lives. And as you do this, everything in your being will resist. Everything in your being will wish to think about other things and deny the feeling of sadness. And it is our human nature to project our feeling of sadness and say it's because of something outside of us. But when we really feel into it and allow that perception that it must be caused by something outside of us to dissipate, and just feel into it and ask it to become present in us, allow it to become present without pushing it down. Just allow that feeling to come up, the feeling of sadness, and it may change into another feeling, something different like anger or, a real deep sadness or frustration. It can turn into anything. So you invite all the feelings. And as you feel into them, and your thoughts start to evaluate them, and please, you don't have to try to do this. If your thoughts don't go in that way, don't. Just feel, because it's truly about feeling. Feelings have so much power in who we are and how we behave. And feelings denied are feelings that will have greater and greater impact on our external experience because we are not participating with them. So they get a life of their own. So as you invite them to come into your awareness, you are recognizing the life force that animates these feelings. And then you say, "Hello, sadness. Thank you for coming." And if there are 10 other feelings, you pick the one that's the strongest. Since you came with sadness, we'll work with that. So you can regard the sadness as seaweed in front of your canoe as you're paddling through your life. And so the seaweed is an obstruction to your forward progress inside yourself. And so we use Ho'oponopono to clear the seaweed of sadness. And we have the image of dumping it out of our canoe as we say through the sadness to our deepest inner being, our deepest, most tender inner self. We say, "I love you. I'm sorry this sadness has obscured my path to you. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Thank you." And as you say this, you continue to allow the experience of sadness And you might notice it begin to change into something else. Whatever it changes into you. Hello, anger. Thank you for coming. I welcome you into my presence. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you to your deepest inner self, the inner self that's capable of loving you back. I'm sorry. Thank you for coming. I love you. And as you begin to clear the seaweed from in front of your canoe and from in your canoe, you can have the image that you're flipping it over and going to the beach to have a good time while your being assimilates the release, the letting go, the bringing to harmony of feeling that no longer serves you. We welcome further questions about this process. We hope that answers your question. We are sending so much love in your direction to support you in this process because it's quite beautiful. And once experienced, it becomes a very simple tool to reach for in any time of emotional disharmony. Anytime there is resistance or obstruction or disappointment or despair or anxiety, whatever arises, Ho'oponopono can serve as you release yourself from the crystallization of these patterns of unresolved emotion. Now, this doesn't mean that we're saying just let go of experience. It's not exactly that. What we just let go of is when we sit down to meditate, we say, everything that's not mine, please leave. So we are letting go of seaweed that other people have dumped into our canoe. We're just letting go of what's not ours. We each have enough work to do on our own. We don't have to be working with other people's discomfort in this world. We have to do our own work. And to get to our own work, we have to let go of anything that might be in our way, that might have plugged up our awareness that somebody else gifted us, either intentionally or by mistake. We just happen to be there. But we let go of anything that's not ours. And you know, we pick up these things from all over the place, from the television, from our phones, from other people in our environment. We don't, it doesn't have to be living people that we interact with. We can pick it up just from, you know, as we get more and more sensitive and our environment, our sphere of influence becomes bigger, we are more permeable to other disharmonic energy. And so it's important to have this step as you sit down to meditate. Everything that's not mine, please leave. It doesn't take very long. You know, sometimes it will take 10 minutes, but most of the time, 30 seconds, and you can just feel it dripping off your hands. Now, if you're in an intense environment, an intense situation, it might take longer. but you just do it until you feel free in yourself. Then you can kind of do a scan. The ego's job is to let us know when we're uncomfortable. And we think the ego gets a bad rap in most spiritual practices for this, because it's really the ego's job. You know, when we're a tiny baby and we have a wet diaper, that's the ego that says, hey, I'm uncomfortable. And the second that diaper is changed, the crying stops. Boop. We get a lot more complicated as we get older. But it's the same process. And there's nothing wrong with ego. There's nothing wrong with knowing we're in discomfort. It's what we do with that information, especially as it gets more complex, as our desires get more complex. How may we serve further?
Go ahead, Doris.
Hi, Doris. Good to see
Hi.
you.
Thank you.
Wonderful to hear your voice.
Thank you, and yours as well. I was wondering if you could speak on the energy that's coming in. You mentioned it briefly at the beginning, and you've got me curious now. The new energy coming in.
Mm.
Thank you.
Well, actually, we were speaking very personally about that.
Oh,
So there's not much general we can say at this moment.
okay.
Although, you know, yesterday was the equinox, so certainly there's a big change afoot for all of us as that shift happens.
Thank you.
Yes, but we'll talk a little bit about the change that we're going through, just in how to manage when new energies appear in you. And in the beginning, when this happens, there's usually some fear, because new energy is new experience. And we're taught that anything that we don't understand that begins to change inside us is bad, because we want everything to be the same.
Right.
And so it takes a little bit of conscious effort to allow the experience of new, we're struggling with the words to describe, we want to say spiritual energy, but what is that? How do we speak to you about this? As we begin to change inside ourselves, the awakening of a human being is very much like the process that a butterfly goes through in creating a chrysalis, in which our inner chemistry can completely reorganize to form into what will become a butterfly. And so as this process happens in us, and it's happening subtly to us all the time, but as we work deeper and deeper in ourselves, we begin to consciously participate by allowing these experiences of the unknown that begin to unravel within us as we let go of this deeper and deeper these deeper and deeper emotional patterns of crystallization. As they break down and there is more energy available to flow within us, that energy will begin to coalesce on its own into our growth process of reorganization and, for want of a better word, rebirth, although that's also kind of a not exactly what happens, but yes, exactly what happens.
Mhm.
It's a restructuring of ourselves as more refined human beings. That's how we can talk about it. So, and this happens over and over. This is not
Right.
a one-time event in a person who's growing spiritually.
Right.
And so as we feel these energies awaken within us, if it's possible, the place to go in yourself is gratitude, because this is a gift from inside ourselves, helping us to evolve into deeper, more aware, finer experiences, finer, more refined energy than we have ever dreamed imaginable becomes available to us as we participate in this process and allow ourselves to be reorganized by previously unknown, unexperienced. We hate to use the word energy over and over, but this is what it is. And we allow ourselves, and this is the reason for spiritual teachers, it's guidance to help us through these patterns of dissolution. As we enter the chrysalis, we're in the chrysalis, we're dissolving. Parts of us are dissolving. And we are participating by allowing. The word used in most spiritual traditions is surrender. We don't exactly agree with that. We much prefer allowing, because allowing is the true level of participation. There's no exactly war. War metaphors don't really fit in this experience. In our experience, it is intense and profound, but it's not exactly war. It's reorganization to be welcomed, because we know from studying the principles of health in the physical body for a long time as an osteopath, that whenever a reorganization process happens throughout the human being, this reorganization always, always, always happens for the person's benefit.
Right.
And so we have trust, and our trust comes from that experience, that when there is a reorganization process, it's always for the better. And so because of that trust, we welcome the experience with open arms. And this is a cultivated awareness and decision that we make to welcome inner transformation, which is the purpose of spiritual practice.
Right.
So as this inner transformation happens, there are periods that feel like, sometimes, this doesn't always happen, but there may be periods that feel like instead of going through an upgrade, you're going through a downgrade.
Exactly.
And sometimes that happens physically, sometimes it happens emotionally, sometimes it just feels like it's happening everywhere. And what this is the releasing, the off-gassing of the old patterns as they leave. And again, here is the real place where a teacher can be helpful, because reassurance in these moments is sometimes imperative. And very often, as you're going through this, mysterious symptoms appear for no reason.
Yeah.
Like a number of years ago, Rebecca had an experience where her knee just completely blew up in inflammation. No real cause. I mean, searched and made up a few plausible explanations, but
Sure.
really, it was part of a transformation, and it was very important for her to be quiet in that period and not be expending all her energy in service, which was really the modus operandi for her at that period. And so, bam, she was down for 6 weeks. Stood at the top of the stairs having no idea how to walk down the stairs because that knee just didn't work. And
Yeah.
so that, it was a forced downstay. And that life will, with capital letters, do that
Yeah.
to allow us to participate in our highest reorganization. And it's because those experiences happen because we sit in meditation, working to expand and refine and become more of ourselves, our true selves, the self we are born to be, to express in this world, the highest possible expression of the life we have been given. And as we request that to express itself in our lives, we go through these evolutionary processes that reorganize us. And so that's what I was talking about when I said it this morning. And the reason I said it is because if you happen to have your eyes open while we were meditating, I was having some energetic shifts happen. And Rebecca, was saying to Annassa, do you really want this to be happening publicly? And they were like, yes, this is what's supposed to happen. So this is why we are talking about it. We and Annassa have total permission from Rebecca to speak of this. So that's what we were speaking this morning. In
Thank
case
you.
you noticed the funny faces and the odd movements, that's what that was about. That's just part of what happens. And we're happy to share it with you because, of course, you will have these experiences too as you move along your evolutionary path. And probably most of you already have had a few. So does that answer your question, Doris?
It does, Rebecca. Thank you very much. It truly does.
You're so welcome. We so enjoy your presence here.
And I enjoy being here. So thank you.
Thank you. How may we serve further? Yes, Suzanne. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Some of the things that you just said were very helpful right now for me, especially that to just allow that some of these changes, and although it may feel like a downgrade, which I'm going through right now and I'll speak to in a minute, that maybe this is just part of the process and to accept that and it's okay. I've been having, and the current term is brain fog, and not and lost a lot of my steadiness and things like that. I am in a week after my second vaccination, which I'm very glad to be in, and perhaps it's that. But I really allowed the fear to come into me that my loss of mental ability and memory that has been exceedingly fast over the last week, 2 weeks, even before that second vaccination, just makes me think that I'm really on the downhill slide. And so I think your comments were very helpful for me to just accept that. And maybe it's something that's just part of allow it to be just a part of a change that I don't have to fear the results of. So
We
thank you.
would encourage you to contact Rebecca in her former as a medical practitioner in the not too distant future. If you
I will do that.
feel
Again.
moved to, she can help you through that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You are totally welcome. We don't mean to mix our roles for Rebecca. We know that complicates her life tremendously. But it is her way to say when she thinks she can help. And it is our allowing that encourages that. So even though there are some social constructs that makes the boundaries between spirituality and medicine slightly complicated, we don't exactly totally respect those boundaries at all times, and please bear with us when we step out of form. Thank you. How may we serve further? So we're going to talk a little bit more about trusting your inner, because this feels up as we go through changes. And really, we'll say the same thing we did last week. When you have a decision to make, until there's a clear path, wait. Now, very often we'll feel compelled to make a decision. And it's important to know where that compulsion is coming from in you. Because very often when a compulsion arises behind a behavior that you're not sure about, very often that is an indication to wait also, especially like if you're driven to say something to somebody that you know might not be received well. This is a good time to, if you can possibly restrain yourself, step back and try to examine where that compulsion in you is coming from. And if you have time to actually go to an Annassa temple with that compulsion to speak and check out with your highest self, which is what becomes available in the Annassa temple, check out what's real. And if you sit there and ask your question and wait, you will at least get comfortable enough to continue waiting in yourself outside the temple until you're sure of what you're doing. Because very often when we ask a question, the answer doesn't come in the moment of the asking, the answer from the universe. It comes when we're not paying attention to that particular question. There's no tightness around it. We're just in the flow of doing the mundane tasks of life, you know, folding laundry, doing dishes, cooking. Then the answer suddenly comes. And it's usually far superior to what our compulsive action would have led us into. So we hope that answers something for someone. How may we serve further? We love it. Everyone looks so, so magnificently beautiful this morning. There is a glow that just is remarkable. We see you and we love it. Andrew?
I think you've already answered this question earlier, but it was more about these times when one has a sense of foreboding. It's not just from reading the news. It's just sense that there's going to be something catastrophic internally or externally, which may result in a new dawning of a new era. But there's sometimes hard to know what to do with that energy.
So the question is this: when there is a sense of foreboding that feels not so personal, but like it is a general change that is about to happen in the physical environment, is this what you're saying? Or, you know, a structural reorganization in the physical environment that you can feel coming. What to do? Well, you check around your environment first of all. Is there anything to fear? Is this fear personal and real for me in this moment? Is my life in danger? So you look around, you feel, no, I'm fine. There's a foreboding, which is another word of something dark and fearful on the horizon. And We know dark and fearful events can happen. You know, we could name a whole bunch of natural disasters that happen in various parts of the world at various times. So what do we do with that? We say, hello, foreboding, welcome. And you feel where you feel it in your body. Generally with this, we feel it right here in our heart. There is this dark foreboding. And you see if the foreboding has anything to say. And then you say Ho'oponopono to your highest. Because in the moment that foreboding is blocking your access. So you don't have 100% congruence in yourself to evaluate. Thank you for coming, foreboding. I love you, my highest self. I'm sorry. And you feel and feel and feel as you say these words. And the foreboding persists. And then you say, is this personal? And it says no. Might say yes. The moment it says no. Then you say, how may I serve? And suddenly the foreboding dissipates. The flow reasserts itself and says, be present. Does that answer your question? And are you getting different answers?
Yes is the answer, but it's also because it's impersonal. It's that how it affects me is almost
Yeah, it's almost irrelevant. Still, the question, how may I serve, is critical.
Right.
Because it may be just a simple issue of saying to someone, please get to higher ground. But if they're not ready to hear that message, then what do you say? So here's where you say, not my will, but thine. Because we, when you get right down to it, our control, there's only one thing we can control. That's us. That's the only thing we can control, is who we are, how we behave. how we show up to ourselves, first of all, to those we love, second of all, to the outside world. However, what really matters is our connection to infinity. That's what really matters, is that we are in alignment with the highest best for the whole. And as we say that, we have no idea what the whole is, because it's more vast than we can imagine. We are stuck in 3D, predominantly linear thinking. The multiverse is exactly that, a multiverse of stars, planets, all kinds of unimaginable energies interacting in this beautiful, beautiful tapestry of multiversity, not just a universe, but a multiverse of universes beyond imagination. And so if we allow ourselves to expand as much as we can, beyond this three-dimensional reality, understanding that very little of the multiverse can be understood from a three-dimensional perspective, then there's a certain kind of humility that arises. Because we understand that the smallest energies on our planet, the single-celled bacteria, are bigger to us than we are in the multiverse. And then that understanding creates a different kind of perspective for what a human life is. And we understand that our power of control in the big picture is zero. There is only one thing that we can really influence, and that is this being inside this container. We can become there is no limit to the evolution that's possible inside a human being. There is no limit, it is endless. And to dedicate our attention as much as we can to participating in our own evolution is the highest calling any of us can ever have. And we all have it. We all have the opportunity to evolve in alignment with the highest best for the whole, knowing full well that our contemplation of the whole is only going to expand as we expand ourselves, our own evolution, and our understanding of what it is that we're made of and what the potential for participation is. Participation is different from control. Participation happens in allowing. And in this allowing, the fundamental path is through the forest of our crystallized emotional experience. And as this dissolves, our energy becomes more and more available to us for exploration of our evolutionary pathway. As that expands, the opportunities for expression in our external world begin to reflect the magnitude of the internal transformation that is occurring as a result of our attention on the dissolution of these patterns which no longer serve our evolution. How may we serve further? Oh, we see that it's time for meditation. So, this meditation, this part of the program will be open eye. So, we're not going to guide this meditation. We're just going to allow you to pick whichever one we've done over the many weeks, whichever one suits you, and we will begin transmitting. We're first going to gather ourselves, and we invite you to do same. Thank you all so much for coming. It's such an honor and a gift to be in your presence. Thank you so much. We bow to your work. Till next week.